and welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in my dial as I explore the wide world of pens. And I've had some serious pens recently. I've reviewed some pens which I haven't been extremely happy with. So I needed a fun pen to review. And what better pen to review but the new issue of the Moonman Wancai in some amazing colors. So we're going to explore this pen. We're going to put a suitable ink into it. And we're just going to say Mr. Crab is really happy. This is a perfect pen for him to hold up. He's very happy holding it up. And as we come around, he's going to give us all a wink. I was remiss. I used the wrong color crab. The green crab said, "What?" So I said, "Okay, you'll get your 15 seconds of fame and give us a wink." The pen arrived in this fairly familiar translucent box, and it is identified as Moonman. If we flip it over, we'll see some other identifying information. We'll translate that Chinese. They provide an English translation, but it's a little bit rough. And there's pretty much an inventory code, but has some other interesting translations, which we will show you. Well-made box. The lid snaps off. In the old days, there used to be a pack of cartridges over here, but most people found the cartridges to not be satisfactory, so they just give you a little velvet sleeve to put your pen into. This is eyedropper only now, so they give you this nice eyedropper with a nice red bulb at the end. Functional and cute, which is what we'll call the Wancai. It is definitely an interesting pen. So one may ask, was this the first design of a pen like this? I can't answer that question. It's the first pen that I saw like this. Then I did a review. I'll put a link to my original review. But this is just a nice resin, incredibly well finished. Just love the colors there. And with any type of resin like this, it's going to be a lot of variations. Yes, the cap doesn't exactly match the barrel or the top and bottom. The cap comes off in a few turns, not bad. And we'll see a number 5 nib, which is common in this design. It's tiny. Yeah, you could use it for quick notes, but it's designed to be posted, and it's a screw-to-post design. And once you do that, the pen fits in the hand fairly well. It's light. I mean, when I used my original Wancai, it had been inked up for a number of years, and I used it regularly. And it was a common companion whenever I traveled and wanted to be able to jot down some notes. So we'll explore this pen a little bit more. It comes in 3 great colors. So, and the prices seem to have dropped a little bit. You gotta be careful when you check eBay because the lowest price has shipping involved. So when you look at the next lowest price, which includes shipping, it's actually less cost to you as the buyer. Again, to me, you need to be a careful shopper. You need to read descriptions. You need to look at the photos. You need to be really aware of what your final cost is going to be when you make a purchase and decide whether that is worth it. So one thing about this resin is when you look at the ends, you get to appreciate the different levels and layers and how this was poured and how they arrived at that look. Yeah, I could look at this all day, along with the reflections of my circular LED lights. Hopefully you enjoy it too. So here we have the Wancai disassembled as much as I'm going to do it. I mean, talk about simplicity. This is about as simple as you can get. Yeah, it's a very nice looking nib. O-rings at top and bottom of this nib collar. And yeah, I could pull the nib, but I'm not into swapping the nib out right now. I've swapped nibs in so many Moonmans, and these number 5 nibs are quite standard in size, so there's a ton of nibs you can put in there. I think we need to bring in the LED because I think this resin is definitely LED worthy. As my camera adjusts, and we'll bring in the LED, and I'm just blown away. One of my pen friends has this in blue, and he's blown away with the blue one. He says there's a lot of variety of colors in it, but I just enjoy the texture that you see in this resin, and it does have a little bit of pearlescence in it. It's just nice. And if we take the LED inside, we'll see that it's has some minor transparency to it. You might be able to see the ink level in there, but it certainly shows off the variety that is in this resin. And I just can't imagine the artists that decided on this resin and how they were going to make it, and then Moonman said, I'll take those resins and make them into a Wancai pen. I love this hobby. So here's my latest Wancai compared to my first Wancai. They're basically identical. This is also the first pen that I got in this white ribbon swirl acrylic, which Pen BBS is called Smog. And then we have, may I say, a copy of the Wancai made by Pen BBS. They put a number 6 nib in it. They gave you a metal band, which allowed you to position cap and barrel in a little bit different perspectives, and also added some weight to the pen because it is a little bit light, and you could center that weight depending upon what your writing preferences were. And then up here we have a Meru pen. Just really like this kind of autumn acrylic. And again, all of these share a screw-to-post feature. Other than the Pen BBS, they have number 5 nibs. And they all, to me, are comfortable writers. Again, it's a pocket pen, and an incredibly well-designed pocket pen. I used to carry this around in my pocket days, weeks at a time, and never had a burp or a leak or anything. I also always kept it pretty full of ink. I never let it get really low, which is one of those things that you need to do if you're going to eyedropper. So here they are posted. And again, they're very similar in size. The Pen BBS gets a little bit bigger because of that metal band, and I prefer it here in the middle, even though that gives you an open end here when you screw on the cap. And the Meru pen is a little bit longer, but not significantly. I think we need to zero in on the section in nibs and just see how cute some of these nibs can be. So I think as far as cute nibs go, the Pen BBS is certainly the cutest nib of this lot by a long shot. The Meru pen is nice with the laser engraving. And of course, the Wancai. The original Wancai just had your generic iridium point designation, where the newer Wancai now has the updated Moonman stamping on the nib, which I think looks very nice. And I think a nib is good to be branded on the pen that it has, because many times that's the only identification as to the maker of the pen. So speaking of cute pens, this video would be not complete without bringing in the Moonman Q1. And this is just a transparent model. I have a brown one and I ordered a green one. the colors have come back in stock, and I don't know how long they're going to last, but I ordered mine, and it should be delivered in the next couple days. It has arrived at my local post office. But as much as I love the Wancai, I must give, at least at this point in time, the 2021 award for the absolute, beyond a shadow of a doubt, cutest pen to the Q1. What do you think? So for those of you that ask, well, how do you fill an eyedropper pen? Now, couldn't be much easier. You must unscrew the section, and generally it takes some effort to unscrew the section because it has a nice O-ring there. And I've silicone greased the O-ring as well as the threads. And then you take this nice open barrel and you use your eyedropper to transfer ink from the bottle into the barrel, and you fill it up to right near the end of that section when it was screwed in. So just basically to where those threads end, and then you screw this back together. You invert the pen for, I'd say, a minute or two, and then you hopefully should be able to write with it as ink makes its way down into the feed. Because when you use a converter, you're pulling ink up through the nib and feed, so that becomes saturated with ink, so you can write with it right away. But when you use a cartridge, you have a similar situation where you insert the cartridge and the ink has to work its way from the cartridge through the feed to the nib before you can write. So what ink to put in to this interesting Wancai pen? Well, those of you that follow my channel know I love living dangerously. And I love putting a brand new ink into a brand new pen. And yes, this ink is a glitter ink. And it's my second batch of ink that I've bought from China. It's in the same seller that sold the Trommel ink, but this is not labeled Trommel. But it has the same bottle. If we look at the color card, we'll see a very nice green. And just an interesting little bit of glitter there. It's certainly in the subtle shade of glitter. None of it's left behind when you do the chromatography. And there's really no ink left behind either. So no ink, no water resistance for this ink. And we'll see a yellow and blue, which based on my early training in colors, yellow and blue are primary colors that make green for a green pen. I just think it's the perfect combo. So I've written with this pen for a bit. I don't like surprises, so I enjoy writing with it. I enjoyed writing with the original Wancai, and I think I had a green ink in that, could have been Lamy green or whatever, and I enjoyed it. And that Jadeite Peacock, which is the second ink with that name, the other one was in the brown family, this is in the green family, so who knows what other Jadeite Peacock inks could be out there. So this pen rolls. This pen easily comes out of your hands. You got to just be aware of this pen. It's small, it's light, it's a little slippery because it's polished so well. You got to remember where the cap is. So it comes off in 1 1/4 turns, which is perfect for a pocket pen because you want to be able to uncap for taking those quick notes. And the other thing that's good, the way they did the threading, is it takes 3/4 of a turn to screw to post. And it's not easy to line up when the camera is in your way. But without the camera, I have no trouble posting it. We'll give you dimensions in that format that I have that hopefully you all like. And when we return, we will put nib to paper and see how this ink performs in this pen. The seller I've bought the Wancai from, I bought a number of pens from on eBay. And they give you this nice little thank you note. And that's nice. And I have taken advantage of their discounts on occasion. Well, this is pretty smooth for a fine nib. Fine nibs are not my first choice, but when you're using a pen like this to take notes on probably not the best paper, a nib like this is exactly what you need. It really lays down a nice line with this ink, which I like. The section feels okay. You do feel the threads and you do feel that step up, so you're pretty limited to where you're going to hold the pen, and there's a nice step out there before you get to the nib. And the number 5 nib, when you're down here, you're pretty close to the paper, so I generally will be holding it towards the upper part of that section, and my fingers do rest on the threads in that step up, but I don't mind it. I tend to hold my pens on the loose side, which I think is good. I don't need any cramping with long writing. I think it's time to rate this pen. And it's tough because this is such a unique pen in its own right. But when I rank a pen, I try to rank this pen for what it is. Does it do what it's supposed to do? Does it write well? Does it feel good in the hand? And does it look nice? So based on all that, we're going to give it a 9.5. And even though it's not my nib of choice, it is a great fine nib, so that's going to get a check. And I'm going to give it 2 checks for the design, build, look, and functionality. And I love these new resins. I'm really tempted to get the other 2 colors, but I don't know. There's only so many pens that you can enjoy, and I do enjoy this one, and I'm glad I added it to my collection. So we want to thank you for watching. I appreciate all my viewers, and I appreciate all the comments, be they nice or be they not nice. You know, that's really, for the person it takes that time and effort to provide a comment. And I think it's really great a lot of times when my viewers are commenting amongst themselves and I can just sit back and enjoy the conversation. Hope this video finds you safe, healthy, and happy. Enjoying your pens, enjoying putting that nib on paper and spreading some ink around and finding a great ink and a great pen, or finding the pen that's exactly what you want at the time you're writing. And that's, to me, the niche that this pen fills. As a pocket pen, I think it's excellent. So you've reached the end of this video. Hopefully you found it enjoyable, entertaining, and interesting. And we're going to say bye until the next video. Nice, consistent, reliable writer, and a great ink.